Hi, this is Cristina.
And Carmen.
And this is another episode of Spooky Tales, a podcast for all things spooky, true crime, and all that. Yeah.
Are you tired today?
No, I was going to say the long version, and then I was like, do I need to? I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'm not super tired.
No.
Surprisingly. Today, we're talking about legends from Venezuela, and I have a case review from Venezuela that is very depressing.
Oh, wonderful.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that's all you're going to say, we can get into the listener story.
We can, yeah. And if you have a story that you want to send us, you can email us spookytales@gmail.com. You can DM us on any of our socials, and you can submit it on Discord. You can call the Spooky Hotline. There's a lot of ways to get it to us. We love receiving them. All right.
Okay. So this is from Jessica, who said we could use her name.
Hey, Jessica.
So Jessica says, I guess I got skipped that, but I already started reading it. Anyway, I have no idea if y'all will ever even see this email, but I just want to start off by saying that I really enjoy your podcast and I recently joined the Discord. Anyway, if you do happen to see this, feel free to use my name. I have lots of creepy, weird, and really just unexplainable things that happen to me throughout my life. So if you would like, I can definitely submit more. Yes, we would like that.
We would.
The one I want to share with you now, though, is about a house I lived in as a kid. So to start out, let me give you an idea of the location of this home. It was in the sticks. Interesting. I've never heard that expression before. Have you?
Really? Yeah.
I feel like
the
it's
boonies, the sticks.
Right. I've heard the boonies and I've heard the cuts, but I've never heard the sticks.
We use the boonies and the sticks, or not the sticks, the boonies and the cut.
Yeah.
More than we ever use the sticks, but I've heard it.
Okay. So anyway, this was in the sticks. My mom had remarried and her and my stepdad found this house near the Virginia, North Carolina border. They had already been living there for a while before I initially saw the house because I lived with my grandma. So my mom picks me up one day and says, I'm going to show you our new house. We drive for what feels like forever, seeing more cows than people and just acres and acres of farms and tobacco fields. Finally, we arrived at the house. As soon as we pull into the driveway, I have this feeling of what I can only describe as uneasiness and sadness. The house is old. I'm talking old school keyholes on the doors for those vintage skeleton keys.
Wow.
The layout is weird. The room that was supposed to be my room had 2 doors. You could enter through the door in the hallway across from the living room, and you could exit out of another door that led to the back porch of the house. Essentially, walking through the room and exiting to the back porch. I always thought this was weird. There were 2 closets in this room, but the closets were strange because when you open the doors, there wasn't a rod for hangers. Instead, there was a lot of shelves from the top of the closet to the bottom. The entire room was painted blue. The wood floors, the walls, the ceiling, all blue. This room always felt dark. Didn't matter if it was in the middle of a bright summer day with the curtains wide open or the ceiling light and all the lamps were on. You could not shake the darkness. What I remember most was the overwhelming sadness I felt in my room. Just a deep sorrow and always the feeling of being watched. One night when I'm in bed, I hear footsteps.
Ew.
Heavy steps, and I was expecting my mom or stepdad to walk into the room, but the steps continue to get closer until it sounds like it's right next to my bed. But I never see anyone. Then I realize my nose is bleeding.
Oh.
I start screaming my head off, and my mom comes in the room, freaked out about all the blood coming from my nose and on my pillow. I'm hysterically trying to tell her what happened, but being a parent, she says, it was just a vivid dream, even though she's bleeding.
Even though she's actively bleeding.
I refuse to sleep in the room. She comforts me for a bit, then goes back to her bedroom. I sit in the living room, determined to stay awake until the sun comes up. So I'm watching TV, and we had an entertainment center that had glass doors. In the glass doors, you can see the reflection of the hallway and my bedroom door. I think you know what's
I don't like
coming.
where this is going.
I'm scared already. I look at the reflection of the hallway in the entertainment center and I see 2 people standing there like they're peering around the corner into the living room.
No mames. No.
But not trying to be seen. Reminds me of Martha's story.
The thing speaking out of hallways and walls. No.
Yeah, that's the worst. I freeze and I think to myself, I know I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing. I stare for what feels like forever, and they're still there, and they're turning their heads, looking at each other like they're having a conversation.
No.
Eventually, I get up and sprint to my mom's room and sleep in there. The next day, I go back to my grandma's house and stay with her for the rest of the school year. They didn't go back.
I don't blame them.
No, me either. My mom and stepdad continued to live there until they moved to Florida years later. So fast forward to me now being an adult, and I'm just talking to my mom one day like, hey, do you remember that weird house we used to live in? And she's like, oh yeah, when your stepdad and I were moving out, the landlady came to tell us goodbye and settle everything, but she wouldn't come inside the house.
Oh no, that's not a good sign. Oh my God.
Not at all. She asked my mom, did anything strange ever happen in the house? And my mom just looks at her and says, yeah.
Like, are you fucking serious right now?
Yeah.
Why didn't you mention this shit before?
Yeah, we had some experiences, but she doesn't go into detail. And then the landlady proceeds to tell my mom, oh, this house used to be a church way back in the day. They would have funerals and there was an old cemetery out back. If you walk far enough into the woods, you can find it.
And did she not tell them this before?
No, they didn't know.
Wait.
But
these are the things I used to tell people before.
It gets worse.
Oh my God.
Guess where the bodies were kept and the wakes were held for these funerals?
The fucking blue room.
Yes.
You know when a room in a house is painted in one color and like it's a sinister room.
Yeah.
Like in, what is it? Insidious? I don't know what movie it is. Isn't there like a red room or some shit? I don't know. The blue room, the red room.
I don't think I've watched Insidious.
Oh, you should.
The thing is, I never get around to watching scary movies because I like scary movies. I don't like watching them by myself. And the only other person who's always here is, of course, my husband, because he lives here. And he doesn't like scary movies. Like yesterday.
Wait. Is the story done?
So no, hold on. I'll finish this story, my story later. But back to Jessica's story.
Yes, thank you.
Hence the room having an entrance door and an exit door leading outside to the back porch. The closets were for embalming supplies and whatever tools are needed for prepping a body for funerals. And that's why they had all the shelves. The room was painted blue because in the South, the older generations believe painting your ceiling blue, especially the front porch ceiling, would keep the bad spirits away. I guess it didn't work for her.
Apparently.
The color is called Haunt Blue or Hant. I'm not sure. It just spelled H-A-N-T, so it must be Hant. Hant blue. Hant being an old Southern word for ghost. Interesting. Oh. So when my mom tells me all this, I go home and I do some internet sleuthing and find out the road the house church was built on is one of the nation's oldest roads connecting North Carolina to Virginia. And when I say old, I mean old like pre-electricity and cars. So there are pictures of people on this website in covered horse-drawn wagons. So that's one of Jessica's stories, and she apologized for it being long, but honestly, we love it.
Yes, Jessica girl, we love it.
Oh, Jessica has one last paragraph.
Oh, okay.
I've had lots of weird stuff happen to me living in the South. My grandma told me lots of stories about different people in our family and their experiences, like how I had a great-great-grandfather that was a literal brujo that people would seek out for help. The story of how he met his wife is quite interesting too. Well, Jessica, send us all of your stories and they can be as long as you need them to be.
Yes.
Also, what I was saying. So yeah, the reason I don't watch that much scary movies is because my husband doesn't like them. And then the other day, I mean, he's like been in the mood supposedly for Halloween movies, but we're talking like kid Halloween movies, right?
Oh my God, that's so funny. And I can see it. Like, this is funny.
We were on Disney Plus, and I was like scrolling through the movies, but also he doesn't like rewatch, because I like rewatching the same like set of Halloween and Christmas movies every year, the same ones.
Me too.
And he doesn't like that. So I'm like, you're really limiting me here. And also he didn't want to watch like Halloween movies he hasn't seen. Like,
then what are the options?
Like new kid Halloween movies.
There's not a lot.
There's not. So yesterday I put one on from Disney from like last year or 2021.
What was it?
About a mummy. It rated TVG, by the way, rated G.
Oh God. Is it Under the Wraps?
Yes, it was Under the Wraps. Yeah. So we were watching that.
Wow. I have no words. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Like we will
rewatch. If only we lived near each other.
Right. I could watch.
We could just watch all the horror movies together with mommy.
Yeah. Like he'll rewatch Hocus Pocus, those ones, and Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's about it. Like, and I always want to watch like, what is it, Practical Magic? I've never seen it. He never wants to watch it. But anyway, that's my struggle every Halloween and every Christmas.
Oh wow. Okay, well, you have some legends from Venezuela for us, right?
I do.
Okay.
So first up, we have the legend of the fireball, aka La Candileja. So the legend of La Candileja comes from the area of Los Llanos, which is a stretch of land that goes from southern Venezuela to northern Colombia.
This is where the legend of El Silbón and La Sayona are also from.
Really? Maybe because of it's like forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or jungle, I guess, technically. It's
Very like rurally, jungly, trees,
Very scary.
Yeah.
So the legend goes, a long time ago, there was a beautiful woman named Candileja who had a lovely figure and luscious hair. Her skin was brown and her eyes were blue like the sky.
No, I'm just kidding. I thought they were going to be brown. I'm sorry.
There's something about brown eyes, y'all, that we love. Is it because we have brown eyes? Is it because the majority of our people have brown eyes? Yes. That is why. As time went on, she got married to a man named Esteban, but her life didn't turn out to be a fairy tale. Instead, she soon came to accept that she married a womanizer and a cheater.
Oh, of course.
The story of many women.
Many a woman.
Okay, so one day Esteban told his wife that he had to go on a trip to a remote part of the country. Candelaria, not wanting to be alone, begged him to take her with him, but Esteban once again said no. Probably because he was going to go meet his second family over there.
Yeah. Or third, fourth family. We don't know.
Who knows? Upset with her husband's decision and knowing that he wasn't going to change his mind, Candelaria decided that if she wasn't able to go on the trip, neither would he.
Oh, okay. Candelaria, what are you going to do? Oh,
I support her wrongs.
I just feel like it's easier to leave than to, well, maybe
back
not.
Then,
actually.
Was it?
No, back then. I take it back.
So that night, Candelaria prepared her husband a tea and added an extra ingredient, poison.
Okay.
Cyanide. It doesn't specify what poison. So soon her husband felt himself drifting into sleep until eventually he died.
Yeah.
Another legend says that Candelaria instead grabbed an axe and chopped her husband into pieces.
Wow. Less graceful, but okay. Not very demure.
Oh, not at all. This is the opposite of demure.
Yeah.
Not poison, very mindful.
A little more demure, yeah.
Axe, murder axe, not mindful at all.
A little messy.
Just a bit. So either way, Candelaria convinced her sons to help her get rid of her husband's body.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Doesn't this just say what? Okay, I guess it might not say, but right now the thought that popped in my head was that does this not say what kind of man he was? Because the sons were willing to help the mom hide the body. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I can see it.
But it could also be that the mom was like abusive and controlling, and then they listened to her because of that.
It could go either way.
But I'm going to go with my first theory. The revengeful woman then began to play the role of a grieving widow in front of the townspeople so no one would suspect a thing. When new admirers would approach her and try to get her attention, Candelaria would tell them that there was only room for one in her heart, her husband.
Oh my God.
Instead, Candelaria became possessive of her sons, who eventually became teenagers and helped her take care of her and the household. This made it hard for the young men to find a wife of their own, since their jealous mother would scare away any young lady that came near them.
Oh no.
As years went on, her sons lived unhappy lives dedicated to pleasing their mother.
That's not healthy. Candelaria, why?
Very boy mom of her?
Yeah, so she murdered her husband and became a boy mom.
Wow.
That's the real horror story.
This is the dark side of boy moms, okay? Eventually, the controlling and bitter woman died while she was expecting to go to heaven.
No way.
How did she expect that?
Candelaria, come on.
Girl, get it together. They were never going to let you in there. You murdered.
No. You murdered your husband.
So when it came to confront God about her actions, God decided to punish her for not allowing her sons to find a wife or happiness. Oh, so not for the murder. Murder is okay.
Okay, but not letting your sons live their lives? That's the real sin.
The real sin. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I'm a little surprised.
Me too. That was a turn I didn't expect.
Yeah.
So God decided that Candelaria would instead become a ball of fire for the rest of eternity. Her soul would not be allowed to rest, and instead her eternal soul would be trapped in a ball of fire with the sole purpose of scaring men who stray far from their home at night. I'm sorry, was this not what she was doing in life too, though, to her sons, like not letting them stray at all from home?
Yeah, that's what she was doing.
Okay. And she's just doing that in the afterlife.
More of the same for her, but now she's a fireball.
Yep. So if you're a man who might be out at night, perhaps thinking about cheating on your wife, be careful you don't come across Candelaria. If you are unlucky to come across her, it's said that she'd appear as a bright ball of fire with 3 flames that's followed by an intense sound and shaking. Other parts of the country, though, believe that Candelaria has a different origin. Some say that Candelaria is the spirit of an old woman who didn't properly raise her 2 sons. She let her sons run wild, disrespect the townspeople, and even use her as a mule to carry them around.
Wow.
Wait, I let my nephews do that. No?
Wait a minute.
Oh my God, am I going to be punished? When the old woman died, God punished her for not raising her children right and forced her to be a ball of fire comprised of 3 flames, which represent her and her 2 sons. Yet some locals believe that Candelaria is a woman who burned in her home with her 2 sons.
Oh.
Regardless, if you come across the Candelaria, don't bother praying or asking for God's help, since it said that this only triggers her and makes a bigger ball of fire.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I could see why that would trigger her, since it was God who gave her that punishment.
Yeah. Would you say, bitch? Fuck that guy.
Bitch, what?
Excuse me? You think he's going to help you? There is no God here.
Creepiest line ever.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have the legend of the Anima Sola. The Anima Sola is said to be an apparition or soul in purgatory that dedicates eternity to doing harm to others. According to legend, the Anima Sola is supposedly the soul of Celestina Abdegano, a woman who was part of the crowd of onlookers who witnessed Jesus' crucifixion. Interesting. What's she doing there? Should she be in the...
I was going to say, what's she doing in Venezuela, not in like the Middle East?
Right? So it's said that later that evening, you know, after she watched Jesus being crucified, Celestina went to the hill where Jesus and 2 others were crucified on. She approached the men besides Jesus and gave them water, but out of fear did not give Jesus any water. For this act, she was punished and sentenced to purgatory, where she would burn and experience thirst forever.
In Venezuela.
Yeah. In Venezuela, the Anima Sola is well known, and people in that country say she's a powerful and revengeful soul with the ability to move objects with her mind. It's said that when she appears before people, she looks like a young, beautiful woman who at times also appears in chains and surrounded by flames. Many in Venezuela who are desperate for a miracle also reach out to her and offer her a gift in return for a miracle or favor. But as said before, the Anima Sola is revengeful, and if at any moment a person forgets to keep their end of the deal, the Anima Sola is said to appear and seek revenge, sometimes even killing those who had wronged her and dragging their soul to hell.
Wow.
One famous account tells the story of an older lady who forgot one night to light the candles she promised to light for the Anima Sola. On that night, the woman was home when someone rang her doorbell. When the lady opened the door, she saw it was an old friend of hers. Delighted by the visit, the woman welcomed her friend into her home. But as soon as the friend entered the living room, she turned into a large, dark shadow that quickly pulled the old woman by her hair. Wow. Poor woman.
Horrifying.
It just gets worse.
Oh, God.
The large shadow then repeatedly beat the woman until she was covered in blood. I didn't expect elder abuse.
From La Anima, you can expect anything.
Spiritual elder abuse.
Yeah.
The fragile old lady with the little strength she had left crawled into the room where her altar was and lit the candle she forgot to light. She got on her knees and begged the Anima Sola to forgive her for forgetting to light the candle. The shadow then disappeared, and the old lady promised the Anima Sola once again that she would never forget to light a candle in her name. And it said the woman lit the candle for the Anima Sola until she died. Bitch, with that beating, I wouldn't forget either.
Oh my God. It was just one night that she forgot.
Like, damn.
I would be dead. I would have forgotten so much.
Oh, yeah. Even after being beat, like.
Yes. Yeah, I would. Oh my God. Poor lady.
Okay, so next we have the legend of the Revengeful Woman from La Pastora, and that's just her name.
Okay, I'm loving all these women except the elder views. That was kind of like, ooh.
That was a little messed up.
Yeah.
But you know
yeah.
what? She could have ended it right then and there, and she didn't, right? She
You're
stopped
right.
the beating when the
Yeah.
old lady lit the candle like she was supposed to. So
I guess, yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand now.
Oh my God.
Okay, so this revengeful woman from La Pastora. In the region of La Pastora, Caracas, there's a story of a young woman who was the daughter of a very Catholic woman. Started out wrong now.
Yeah, this is already like, I don't know about this.
Yep. So one day, the young woman found out her fiance was cheating on her. Heartbroken and desperate to punish her partner for what he did to her, she went searching for a witch who could help her invoke Satanas.
Oh, all right.
When the witch summoned Satan, the woman offered him her soul if he would help her get revenge on her two-timey boyfriend or fiance. Satan accepted the deal, and at that very moment, once the deal was sealed, 2 horns grew out of the woman's head, and the woman became instantly mute.
What kind of revenge is this?
Yeah, but she didn't care because now she had the power to punish the man who had broken her heart, so she went out in search of vengeance. Later on, when the devil came across the woman again, he was shocked by the harsh and painful death the woman put her ex-fiance through.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Impressed by her evilness, the devil allowed the woman to stay on earth where she can continue to punish those who cheat. Okay, woman from La Pastora, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Wow. I just wasn't expecting that.
No, yeah, that was wild.
Usually deals with the devil don't go that well, so.
That's what she wanted. She wanted to get revenge, and then she was able to keep getting revenge on other cheating men. So
her dreams came true.
Yeah.
And like we say, support her rights and her wrongs.
That was the last one.
Oh, okay. Wow. Very interesting. All women legends too.
Yeah, loved it.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, feminism.
Okay, Venezuela, we see you. Okay. Well, on this note, we're going to take a little ad break and then we'll be back. We're back. And like I said before, at the beginning, it's a very depressing story. Just a little content warning. This is a true crime case from Venezuela that involves, a woman who was kidnapped, and during her kidnapping or captivity, I guess, while she was held captive, horrible things happened to her, including sexual and physical abuse. So, if you don't want to hear that, skip my part completely. Come back for spooky recommendations in like half an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to be telling you about the case of Linda Loaiza Lopez. Have you ever heard of this?
I don't think I have.
Okay. I hadn't heard of it before I started Googling cases from Venezuela. I wanted to keep it Venezuela this episode. So Linda Loaiza Lopez was born on the 12th of December, 1982 in Azulita, Mérida, Venezuela. Her dad was a farm worker and her mom stayed at home and raised their 12 children.
Wow.
Big family, yeah. Linda was the second oldest, and it was, I think we can guess, but a lower income household. And the family had immigrated from Colombia to try and provide a better life for their children in Venezuela. It was Linda's dream to become a veterinarian. I can't say this fucking word. Yes, thank you. And she was 18. She had recently graduated high school, so she was going to make that dream happen. She had always been a hardworking person. And when she told her family that she wanted to become a vet, they all supported her. Linda needed to move from their small town to the big city of Caracas to attend La Universidad Central de Venezuela, the Central University of Venezuela. And because they were so close, her older sister, Ana Cecilia, moved to the city with her, so she wouldn't be by herself.
That's nice.
Yeah, isn't it? And so she would still have her big sister with her. And I believe they were like 2 years apart. So at this time, her sister was 20 and she was 18. And so they rented an apartment in Caracas together. And not long after arriving in the city, in fact, just 1 month after arriving, on March 27, 2001, things went completely wrong. So Ana Cecilia went to run her errands, groceries, things like that, while Linda got ready for the day. And Linda had been planning on heading to the university to do paperwork or things she needed to get done before her classes actually started, because they were about to start. So she was getting ready for that. And so they went their separate ways. Ana Cecilia returned from her errands to their shared apartment in the afternoon, and Linda was not back yet. And she found this odd, but she didn't think much of it. She was like, okay, maybe she met someone at the university, but it was still kind of weird to her because they were new to the city and they hadn't done like much like, oh, let's go meet people. So it's not like she knew anyone. Then hours went by, and now Ana Cecilia was really worried, and she went down to the local police station to try and report her sister missing. And the police told her that she needed to wait 48 hours to report someone missing. Then they also told her that Linda was probably just ran off with her boyfriend or something, and that they weren't going to get involved with a lover's quarrel.
Did she even have a boyfriend?
No, they were brand new to the city. And Ana Cecilia was like, no, but she doesn't have a boyfriend.
And they didn't care.
No, they were like, no, she probably doesn't. You just don't know about it.
That's ridiculous.
Very. And so they didn't listen. Ana Cecilia had to go back to their apartment and she just didn't know what to do. 2 days later, she got a phone call, and it was a man who told her he was Linda's boyfriend and that Linda was fine, but she didn't want to talk to her, that she was with him now and she didn't want to go back. And I'm not sure about this part. Every thing I read or watched or listened to about this part said that it was like a blocked number, but somehow she I don't know, pressed call back a bunch of times until it eventually worked. Something like that. I don't really understand this part of it, but somehow she was able to call back after trying for a long time, and it showed her a caller ID with the name Luis Antonio Carrera Almoina. And I mean, I know back then you could no, I mean, you could block numbers yourself, your own number by putting star, what was it?
80 something?
I don't remember, but I don't understand how she got the number or was able to call back.
There was a way to unblock them too.
Okay, so that must have been what she did. I just don't remember it much. Yeah. I remember prank calling and things, but I don't remember much anymore about old phones. So she was able to call the number back, and then she was able to see a caller ID with that name. And with this information, Ana Cecilia went back to the local police. She gave them the phone number and the name, and they reassured her that they would follow up. But I think we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. And it took an additional 4 trips from Ana Cecilia to go back for them to actually open an investigation.
Wow. And how much time had passed by this point?
Probably a week or 2.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a couple of weeks, something like that. So finally, a couple of weeks later, there was some news. Luis called Ana Cecilia again and told them to leave them both alone, and hung up. And then she got another call right after that. And this time it was Linda, and she told Ana Cecilia to leave her alone, that she wants to be with Luis now. Of course, Ana Cecilia didn't believe this.
Yeah.
Because her sister wouldn't just leave like this. Still, the police, they weren't doing anything. Ana Cecilia went to I want to say probably the next bigger police department and filed a report with that department. Mm-hmm. And now neither department was doing anything.
Oh my God.
And if they weren't sharing anything. But it really more likely is that they weren't investigating anything at all. 4 months went by. And this whole time, Ana Cecilia was trying to, see what was happening, go to the police. The whole time they were like, no, it's her boyfriend. So 4 months went by. And one afternoon, July 22nd, Ana Cecilia got to her apartment, and the front desk, I know it's not called the front desk, but if you're in an apartment, there's a place where if they can't find your apartment, they leave your package in an office,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was an office for the apartments they lived in, and they handed her a letter. She opened it, and it said that her sister had been found and that she was in the Hospital Clínico Universitario de la Universidad Central de Venezuela, so the hospital at the university in Caracas. And so she immediately left and went to go see her sister. When she got to the 5th floor of the hospital, she could not believe what she was seeing. It was Linda, her sister, in the hospital bed, but she was in terrible shape. Linda looked malnourished. Her eyes were bruised, swollen. One of her eyes it wasn't straight anymore. It was just loose in her eye socket.
Oh my God.
Her jaw was broken, and she couldn't talk because of the broken jaw. She was bruised all over. Her limbs had partial burns. And this is just what Ana Cecilia could visibly see. But her injuries were far more severe The hospital said that Linda should be dead. That's how bad she was. Like, they couldn't believe that she was
Wow.
alive. Doctors compared her injuries to a traumatic car accident.
Oh, wow.
And this part is terrible. And this is the total list of injuries. She was disfigured, malnourished. Her right eye formed a cataract and was loose in her eye socket. Her jaw had 3 fractures. Both of her ears were disfigured with chronic injuries from continued beatings. There was internal bleeding in her abdomen. She had cigarette burns everywhere, including her breasts. One of her nipples was cut off completely. She had tearing in her uterus. Her nose was broken. She was hospitalized for 1 full year, and she underwent 16 surgeries, including several facial reconstruction surgeries. It took her 6 months to learn how to walk again. When Ana Cecilia got that letter, she had already been in the hospital for 3 days.
She got what letter?
When Ana Cecilia was notified that Linda was found, she had already been in the hospital for 3 days. Yeah.
Okay, because they notify her via letter, and letter is not immediate.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I mean, they could have called her, right?
You would think. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to find out who she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible. So after that, it took another 4 months to find out what actually happened, because for some reason, police would not allow Linda to speak with her lawyer about anything.
What?
Yeah. And even the fact they could do this is shocking to me.
What would even be the reason for that?
They kept saying there was like an investigation. She wasn't allowed to say anything. But it's like, okay, that's her lawyer. That's like a legal right.
They can't stop her.
Yeah, but somehow they did.
What?
And even during that time, they also didn't let her see her family. Again, they kept saying because the investigation was open, and that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So during those 4 months, she only saw her family like 2 times.
Oh, wow.
And then finally, they allowed her to talk to her lawyer. And that's how everyone found out what took place on the day she was kidnapped, the day she went missing, which again was March 27, 2001. On the day she went missing, Linda was on her way out of the apartment when she noticed a man was following her. And she tried to keep walking, but suddenly she felt a gun on her back.
Oh my God.
And he told her if she didn't follow his instructions, he would kill her. And then he made her get in his car and took her to a hotel named Aventura, where he beat her.
This is terrible.
Very, very. And at that hotel, he beat her, made her eat soap, which is just...
What?
Like, why? Just because he could, I guess. After a few days there, he took her to his apartment in El Rosal, Caracas, so a neighborhood in Caracas. And then he locked her in a room. This is where he physically and psychologically abused her, starved her. The beatings got worse every time Linda's sister, so Ana Cecilia, tried to either call him back or went to the police. Like, the more she went to the police, the worse he treated Linda.
Oh my God. But how did he know that she was going to the police?
I feel that he was being notified.
Interesting.
Yeah. At one point, he showed Linda pictures of other women and told her that he killed them too. And if she didn't listen, that she would be one of these women, and that he just got away with killing them. And it was 8 women he told her that he had already killed. And Linda spent her days either tied in a closet, tied to a bed, or tied in the bathroom. If he wasn't the one to sexually abuse her, then he was trafficking her as well.
Oh my God.
And she was only allowed to eat scraps or leftovers that he didn't want. On July 19th, her captor noticed that Linda was looking really, really, really bad. Like, to him, she looked almost dead. She was so weak and injured. And so he was like, all right, she's like no danger. He untied her, propped her to a chair, and then he made a phone call to his dad. And he told his dad on the phone that he wanted him to bring black trash bags to him because he planned to get rid of Linda, that she wasn't useful to him anymore. And then he left his apartment. And because she already looked so dead to him, he didn't think she was going to do anything. So he left his apartment, left her untied. So this is when she dragged herself to the balcony, opened the door, and then started to scream at the top of her lungs for help. And just the fact she
had the strength,
had the energy.
That.
Yeah, like, that's insane, because she was in such bad shape. Neighbors heard her screams and they called the police. And so firefighters and the police responded together. They tried to get her out through the balcony with a ladder. But then eventually the owner of the building was able to unlock the door for them. And they were able to just put her on, like a gurney and take her out that way.
And the neighbors couldn't hear like the beating?
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't want to get involved.
I mean, it could be a possibility that they didn't. Maybe we just don't know.
But maybe they couldn't hear it because it wasn't until she opened the doors and like screamed at the top of her lungs.
And they helped her right away. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they couldn't hear. I don't know. I'm wondering. So then she was taken to the hospital after that. And as soon as she got to the hospital, she named the man who did this to her. And also her sister also had already known who it was. Her sister already told the police. And when Linda got to the hospital, she gave them the same name, Luis Carrera Almoina, and they weren't doing anything about it.
I don't understand.
He happened to be the son of a very famous writer / professor or director of a university / had very deep political connections in the country.
Oh my God. I kept wondering like what the fuck is going on, that they're not doing shit. And now it makes sense. But I'm sorry, if I had a son and he was out there doing horrible shit, like it doesn't matter if that's my son.
I would have turned him in myself.
Yeah.
I would have been like, take him.
But this is probably a man who does not value women. And so I guess it's fine with the psychopath of a son he raised or whatever.
Right. It doesn't matter to him.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why it took authorities a long time to even pretend to investigate him.
Oh my God.
Because even when they opened an investigation, they still weren't doing anything. During this time.
Wow.
He was even caught bragging that he was untouchable because of his father's political connections.
That's unbelievable. I mean, it's believable, but you know what I mean? Like I can't right now.
So even though she had already named him, police later went to her hospital room and told her that she was not allowed to name him as the perpetrator, that he was innocent. And apparently Luis was going around claiming that they were in a relationship. She was a sex worker. He actually found her because she had advertised her services in the newspaper.
Even if that was true, that doesn't give him the right to beat the shit out of her. Like, come on.
Like it still doesn't matter. It's still abuse, even if they were in a quote unquote relationship, which they were not. He even showed police officers the newspaper clipping of her alleged advertisement. I mean, it's not real. She was
just
not
made this up. Like you typed it up himself or something. Like what the hell?
Apparently something. I don't know. But like you said, even if she was, it doesn't matter. He claims that she came to his apartment injured, like in that state that she was in, and he was taking care of her.
That's so stupid because any reasonable person would have taken someone in that condition to the hospital right away, immediately.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. If someone showed up to your door like that, why would you try to take care of them yourself? Why wouldn't you? I would have been like, I can't do this. I'm not a doctor. You need medical care ASAP. Obviously, he was lying.
Yeah.
And 3 years after her rescue, and with the statute of limitations nearing, Linda was still seeking justice.
Oh my God.
So she went on a hunger strike on the steps of the Supreme Court of Venezuela, demanding charges to be filed. And she did this hunger strike having just had a surgery for her pancreas.
Wow.
And due to the public attention that her hunger strike was bringing, they finally pressed charges and the case went to trial. But I can't even. This is fucking terrible. So the trial, it finally went to trial and you'd think, okay, finally justice. But no, during the trial, Linda was subject to re-victimization and was blamed for her own captivity. The defense claimed she was a sex worker and she clearly enjoyed it. They called her name. No. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No one would enjoy being beat to near death. Like, come on. She was disfigured. She was burned. Like, even if because people are into like pain play, whatever they call it, like that's fine. Like people can be into whatever, but not to the point where they're actually in
about to die,
physical danger and about to die. Like this is so ridiculous.
Yeah. And again, even if she was a sex worker, this is still abuse. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
They called her names. They said she was a slut. They called her promiscuous. All the words, all the words used during trials on women. There was obvious evidence aside from Linda's testimony. The apartment was full of her blood that was matched to Linda. That's how much she had been injured.
Oh my God. How do you explain that?
Exactly. And so usually crimes like these take months to go through trial. It takes months for the whole thing, everyone to testify, evidence to be presented, experts, things like that. This one only lasted a few days. On November 5th, 2004, Judge Rosa Cadiz,
not a woman.
Yes, a woman, acquitted Luis Carrera.
What the fuck?
She was not a girl's girl.
To say the least.
To say the least. Yeah, she was a fucking bitch. No. So
an evil bitch is what she was. Okay, go on. Unless she was under threat. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we don't know. She could have been under threat. We don't know. But Judge Rosa Cadiz claimed there was reasonable doubt. And then she said Linda, her sister, and her father should be investigated for operating a sex work ring.
What the fuck? She was walking and she was kidnapped. Like, what the hell?
Their dad didn't even live with them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And because the judge said those words, a legal case was opened for defamation against her abuser, Luis Carrera, and to investigate this supposed sex ring.
Okay. But they also opened up a civil case for
defamation.
Defamation against the judge?
Luis, no.
Oh, against Luis.
They opened one saying that Linda was defaming Luis Carrera.
For what?
Her abuser, for accusing him of being an abuser.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I thought this was a new play in the playbook.
No.
I didn't know this was an old move in the playbook.
Yeah. Johnny Depp was not the first to do it. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Now there was a legal case against Linda Loaiza.
Oh my God. I don't even have the words to describe how mad I am right now.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
It's just, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, now there was a legal case open against Linda Loaiza, who almost fucking died at the hands of this man. Unbelievable. So Linda Loaiza said that she felt she was the person on trial, not her abuser.
Oh, it's such a common sentiment that should not be a common sentiment.
Yeah. She stated it was the most tragic moment of the whole process, because this was the moment that she realized she wasn't facing just her abuser. She was facing an entire system that was against her.
Oh my God. This reminds me of the book Know My Name by Chanel Miller. It's her memoir. The survivor of Brock Turner.
That bitch Brock, yeah.
That bitch ass Brock Turner, yeah. And so she talks about that a lot in the memoir, about feeling like she was the one being put on trial.
It's terrible.
And being up against the whole system, yeah.
So Linda Loaiza obviously appealed this. 59 judges refused to hear the case. Finally, in 2006, there was a retrial. And this time he was finally sentenced with 6 years and 1 month.
Wow.
Not for the sexual or physical abuse. The charge was depriving someone of their freedom.
Okay. The kidnapping and the...
Yeah, but not the torture, rape, sexual violence, or attempted murder.
Wow. Did they just not bring those charges forward, or
they just dropped them?
Oh.
Yeah, they dropped them.
Wow.
So he, went to the Rodeo jail in Venezuela, but he was released in 2009 for good behavior. So
not the full 6 years either?
Not the full 6 years, no.
Wow.
Yeah. And at this point, it's been years since she survived her attack, her captivity, and still there was no justice, because this man only faced one charge for what he did to her, nothing else. And by this time, Linda had become a lawyer herself.
Wow.
Yes. And she took the case out of Venezuela and to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights.
I love this court. Usually they do the right thing, right? Anytime I looked into things like for historias unknown and they're mentioned, it's a good thing, good outcome. So I'll just leave it at that. I'm scared to say anything's good, no?
Because this whole thing has been just depressing shit, fucked up things, one after the other.
Yeah.
Okay, so Linda wanted to be the one to bring her own case to the commission instead of relying on a legal organization to do it. She graduated law school in 2011, and then she enrolled in a postgraduate double specialization in international and human rights law.
Wow. I'm amazed. I mean, for anyone to accomplish this is huge, right? For someone who had experienced so much trauma and like, it's hard to live with trauma, and I don't know, for her to be able to do that, that's amazing.
Yeah. And less than 1 in 100 successful petitions to the commission make it to court. And knowing this, she still needed to try. The Washington Center for Justice and International Law and the Venezuelan Committee of Relatives of Victims of the Events of February and March 1999. It's an organization.
Oh, what is that for?
I need to look into that. I don't know. I am assuming something happened.
This sounds like a whole thing. Okay, well,
let's mark that down for Historias Unknown.
Yes, yeah.
So they joined her as co-petitioners and also offered pro bono legal support.
Amazing.
Yes. And her petition to the commission was accepted. In March 2015, Linda Loaiza testified before the IACHR. I'm abbreviating that. It's very long. Her case happened to be the first case involving gender-based violence against the state of Venezuela to be heard.
Wow.
The commission concluded that Linda did not have equal access to justice, and she suffered re-victimization. And then the court elevated her case to the Inter-American Court. Oh, sorry. So this is a commission. The commission hears the case and then it goes to court.
Oh, okay. To see if it goes to court. Okay.
Yeah. This is the commission. It was heard by the commission. They elevated it to the court, the Inter-American Court.
And that's why her goal was to take it to court.
Yes. So on February 6th, 2018.
Oh my God. Like, this is a whole lifetime after. It's so long.
Decades. Yeah. Linda sat before the 7 judges of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. And she said to them, "It is important that you value my testimony. I come here now because I trust you and I expect justice." And more of her opening statement. "My voice is that of many women in Venezuela and Latin America who have not been able to report the events of which they have been victims. I am outraged because it is impossible to access justice in my country. I was forced to study law to fight for my cause. It's important that you value my testimony. The path traveled has not been far from simple or straight. It was not easy to get here, but I came because I trust the system. I hope not to receive the answers that the Venezuelan judiciary gave me, which never investigated the facts just because my attacker was the son of a person with power." Venezuela's legal representative apologized and acknowledged that Linda did not have access to justice under conditions of equality. The court ordered the state of Venezuela to compensate Linda Loaiza and her family by covering the costs of her lifelong medical and psychological care.
Good.
They also ordered the state of Venezuela to acknowledge its responsibility publicly and to establish a national gender violence curriculum named after Linda Loaiza. And this ruling is the first within the Inter-American system to classify violence against a woman at the hands of an individual as torture.
Wow.
It's also set a historic precedent in terms of violence against women and discrimination they face in the justice system.
Yeah.
And Linda called the ruling a triumph of justice only if the state of Venezuela actually fulfills it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Venezuela does not have the best record of adhering to these types of rulings. I tried to search and I could not find any other information on if they have actually done this. So
I'm sure that if you couldn't find it, it's because they haven't.
Right. She has said that when the state of Venezuela executes the full content of the sentence, I'll be able to speak about justice. Until then, impunity persists.
Wow.
And she also says that she was encouraged by the Me Too movement and that she hopes her story inspires others to report violence and seek justice. She continues her work in advocacy for women in Venezuela. One lawyer who works with her on her case has said the following about Linda. She has managed to transcend her own personal story in favor of a collective quest. A well-deserved and recognized human rights defender, Linda is an example of courage, persistence, and resistance.
Truly, truly.
Yeah. And of course, there's, still work left to be done. Like I said, Venezuela, I can't find information on whether they've done fulfilled their sentence. Violence against women increased after COVID worldwide, but especially in Latin America and, of course, Venezuela. And this statistic is like, oh my God, almost 10 years old now. I can't find a new one specifically for Venezuela. But from the 70,763 complaints of violence against women, only 0.7% make it to trial.
Can you say the percentage again?
0.7.
Oh my God.
Out of basically 70,000.
Wow.
And, that's that they make it to trial. And if they make it to trial and face the same kind of fucking trial that Linda did, then like, what does that tell you?
That's just awful.
Yeah, this whole thing was awful. So I'm sorry to everyone, but I felt that her story was very important, especially because we're talking about, we're sharing fun, spooky legends from Venezuela.
No. And you know what? It's such an important story to tell always. But I mean, not that violence against women ever gets, I don't know, I feel like it has to get better. But recently we've heard headlines of violence against women, like internationally and here in the United States. Actually, I don't remember anything from the United States, but there was that man, or do you know what I'm talking about? That man who was basically drugging his wife and exploiting her to any man that wanted to rape her.
Oh my God, where was this?
I believe this was in France, and she testified against him in court. Such a brave woman to do that. They were married for years, decades.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So just awful, awful stuff. And then the Olympic
runner who was set on fire by her partner, husband?
Yeah, in front of their kids.
Also in Beaverton, Oregon, a nurse, 27-year-old nurse, she had just gotten married late August. She was waiting on housing to move with her husband to Fort Lewis. She was waiting on that to finally be able to go move with her husband. And she was killed by her neighbor, a man. She was a nurse.
Wow.
It just happened.
But yeah, I mean, and so often, like, violence against women is never depicted or categorized as like hate crime, right? Or as, like a hate-based violence or anything like that. But men who do this kind of stuff to women, they hate women. So like it should be, right? It should be.
Oh, like you sent in our group chat, another Danity Kane member came forward to press charges against P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Dawn Richard, that's her name. Yeah, I mean, like, violence against women is so normalized, joked about, and it's serious. It's a very serious, horrible thing that, like, no one should have to face.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to share her story and to share that she's still working for protecting women and their rights in Venezuela, which is like amazing of her to be able to do after everything she went through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode. We'll take a quick ad break here. And anyway, yes, spooky recommendations. I'll go first because Carmen's taking a giant sip of water, whatever you're drinking. What are you drinking, actually?
It's water. I put water in here.
Okay. I finally, and I feel like I'm so late to this, but I finally watched Abigail, Melissa Barrera's newish movie.
Oh, I'd never even heard of that.
Oh my God, where have you been? Anyway, it was so fun. It was such a fun watch. I think everyone knows by now, but skip ahead a few seconds if you don't want spoilers, but it is a vampire movie.
Oh.
And it's so funny because they know what they're doing. It's so funny because there's a part where they're like, okay, well, what do we know about vampires? And I just love when movies are so self-aware.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
It's my favorite thing. Yeah, it's my favorite thing ever. Yeah. But also it has its scary moments. It's never dull. The parts where they're like fighting the vampire, amazing. Also, so the cast, top notch. Melissa Barrera, love her. She's amazing. It also has this white guy that I just love, and I don't know if you even
wonder what it is.
Let me.
What has he been on?
Of course, I can't remember his name. Okay, so Dan Stevens is his name, and so he's been on Legion is a show. I don't think you watched it, but he was on. Huh?
Can you send me a picture?
Oh yeah. But yeah, Legion. What else? I mean, that's the main thing I knew him for, but a lot of movies and shows.
Oh, I never seen him before.
Oh, okay. Well, I love this man. So he was a fun addition to the movie. He's also like a perfect villain. And
okay, so he's a vampire.
He's just I won't say more than that. But yeah, very fun movie. Also, the guy from Breaking Bad, the one
Jesse?
No. He's also a bad guy in Breaking Bad.
Oh, I only know so many
something
characters.
Esposito.
I didn't like watching that show. I mean, I tried to get into that show and I didn't like it.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, okay. I know. I've seen him before. He's always a villain.
Yeah, exactly. And just, the perfect casting for this movie. R.I.P. Angus Cloud. He's in it. He's a kid from Euphoria who was from Oakland. He's in it. So yeah, I mean, it's a very fun movie. I definitely recommend it. I mean, it's honestly like perfect for a spooky season. And if you like vampires, so it was fun. I highly recommend it.
Okay. I think Paul would watch that probably because like when it's like vampire stuff, like I think it's like mostly like ghosts he doesn't watch, and slasher movies he doesn't like those either.
Okay, you should watch it then.
Cool. Is that it for your spooky?
That's my spooky recommendation. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. The last spooky one that I finished, let me just double check because I feel like I finished another one in between.
You need to start reading Piñata. That's what you need to do.
I told you already chapter 7 that I'm finishing. Oh, you already started?
Yeah.
Anyway, I told you that I'm finishing Love in the Time of Cholera that I hate. I listened to this book called Mother Thing. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I've seen the cover. It looks
I sent it to you, huh? Yeah.
No, before that I had come across it too.
I first saw it like a while ago, and what caught my eye was the cover. I do judge books by their cover. I mean, that's why they're there, right? To judge them. And it caught my eye because it's so spooky looking. And it was interesting. So there's like I feel like a category of, it's not really a genre, but there's like a category of books that are like unhinged women loses it, right? And this really fits in there.
Okay, I love those books.
Me too. I love an unhinged woman loses it. And there's like, a variety of unhinged women loses it, right? Like I feel like, what was the last one The Eyes Are the Good Part. Or best part probably is, right?
The good part. The best part.
The unhinged woman loses it, goes on a killing spree, becomes a serial killer. Gone Girl, I would put that under unhinged woman, loses it and gets the worst kind of revenge. So yeah, I would classify this under that. Although she loses it in a different way and it's very like rambly, like her mind. But I liked it. Okay. Let me read the synopsis in case people want to listen to it. So when Ralph and Abby Lamb move in with Ralph's mother, Laura, Abby hopes it's just what she and her mother-in-law need to finally connect. After a traumatic childhood, Abby is desperate for a mother figure, especially now that she and Ralph are trying to become parents themselves. Abby just has so much love to give to Ralph, to Laura, and to Mrs. Bondi, her favorite resident at the long-term care home where she works. But Laura isn't interested in bonding with her daughter-in-law. She's venomous and cruel, especially to Abby, and life with her is hellish.
Ooh.
When Laura takes her own life, her ghost haunts Abby and Ralph in very different ways. Ralph is plunged into depression, and Abby is terrorized by a force intent on destroying everything she loves. To make matters worse, Mrs. Bondi's daughter is threatening to move Mrs. Bondi from the home, leaving Abby totally alone. With everything on the line, Abby comes up with a chilling plan that will allow her to keep Mrs. Bondi, rescue Ralph from his tortured mind, and break Laura's hold on the family for good. All it requires is a little ingenuity, a lot of determination, and a unique recipe for chicken a la king.
Interesting.
So yeah, I could see people not liking it because of how much she rambles and how much like her thoughts intercede with like the story, I guess.
Oh,
but I like that kind of stuff sometimes.
Sometimes,
when it's like interesting. Usually when it's a man, I'm not interested now. And another thing, like you don't know what is real and what's not. Like if she really
she's
does
an unreliable narrator.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
so
I love
the
that
ending
too.
is like kind of like confusing because you're like, did she do that or not? But I won't say more than that.
Is it real?
yeah. So I don't know. I liked it. And then I also read or listened to What Moves the Dead and What Feasts at Night. So it's like a series, and I don't know if there's more, but this is all there was on Libby. And they were okay. I liked What Feast at Night better. Read the synopsis of that in case people want to listen to that or read it. Also, what caught my eye was the cover. Did I say it's by T. Kingfisher yet?
No.
Okay. That name of the author also caught my eye. I was like, what a cool name. So it says, from T. Kingfisher, the award-winning author of The Twisted Ones. Oh, they have other books. Comes What Moves the Dead, a gripping and atmospheric retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's classic, The Fall of the House of Usher. So that's also what caught my eye.
Okay. Yeah. That has already caught my eye.
So it was good. I don't want to say it was bad or anything. So when Alex Easton, a retired soldier, receives word that their childhood friend, Madeline Usher, is dying, they race to the ancestral home of the Ushers in the remote countryside of Ruritania. When they find there is a nightmare of fungal growths and possessed wildlife surrounding a dark, pulsing lake. What they find, not when they find, my bad.
I love fungus in books.
Yes, so I like that part too. Madeline sleepwalks and speaks in strange voices at night, and her brother Roderick is consumed with a mysterious malady of the nerves. Aided by a redoubtable British mycologist and a baffled American doctor, Alex must unravel the secret of the House of Usher before it consumes them all. So I guess it was good there, but there was a lot of like world building because it is a series. And so a lot of like background and context on the main character is provided, which is fine. It's necessary. But things really picked up at the end and it was wild. So I really liked it once things got picked up. Yeah. And then the second one is What Feast at Night. So then this one is about retired soldier Alex Easton returns in a horrifying new adventure. After their terrifying ordeal at the Usher Manor, Alex Easton feels as if they just survived another war. All they crave is rest, routine, and sunshine, but instead, as a favor to Angus and Miss Potter and their characters from the first one, they find themselves heading to their family hunting lodge deep in the cold, damp forests of their home country, Galicia. In theory, one can find relaxation in even the coldest and dampest of Galician atoms. But when Easton arrives, they find the caretaker dead, the lodge in disarray, and the grounds troubled by strange, uncanny silence. The villagers whisper that a breath-stealing monster from folklore has taken up residence in Easton's home. Easton knows better than to put too much stock in local superstitions, but they can tell that something is not quite right in their home or in their dreams. So I think I like this one better because of the folklore and what the spookiness, I guess, was like based on. So
okay,
but I mean, you know, we love a fungi story. We love a folklore haunting. Also, the main character is what's called in that series a sworn soldier, so like a trans person, I guess. They explain it in the book better than I'll be able to explain it, so I'll just if you people want to read more like books about LGBTQ characters, queer characters, then this would be a good one to check out.
Cool. Okay. All right, well, I think now we have finally arrived at the end of the episode. One of these days we will record another episode for Patreon. I am currently making stickers, all spooky themed, pumpkins and stuff. So yeah, if you want an exclusive giant keychain that says Spooky Tales and it's all fuzzy and cute, you can join the $8 tier. If you want access to the bonus episodes where usually we read Reddit stories or paranormal news to each other, I would say access to the episodes early, but it's usually like the night before. It's not very early, but it is ad free. That's the $1 tier, and you got a shout out every episode. So yeah, if you're interested in that, go ahead and do that. Also, shout out to the people that have been buying merch and got emails when people do, and nice. That's very exciting. Someone just bought a beanie. Thank you. Nice. All right. I don't know. Gosh, I can't remember. If you see a ball of fire, run, because Candileja's coming after you.
Yeah.
Was that her name?
Yeah.
Okay. Stay spooky, and we'll catch everyone next time. Bye.